In the following days, Kim Hyun-sung attends school as usual. On the outside, he seems no different, but inside, he has meticulously planned his moves. To beat Golden Circle, he needs to improve his academic performance, as their target is the outstanding students who are better than their members. Preparing for the worst-case scenarios in the future, Kim Hyun-sung visits a rundown gym. Despite its appearance, the trainer there is Young-do Cheol, the first South Korean MMA fighter to become a world UFL champion. Now just a relic of the past that no one cares for, he is the missing piece Kim Hyun-sung needs. Meanwhile, at high school, because the plan to eliminate the main character failed, the school bully, Shin Young-min, orders Park Jin-woo to render Kim Hyun-sung incapacitated, so he can no longer function normally. On his end, bypassing the introductions of the gym owner, Kim Hyun-sung gets straight to the point, wanting to be trained to fight effectively, enough to crush all the bullies. Young-do Cheol, once a UFL champion, could have enjoyed a luxurious life but chose to run a small gym in the countryside due to his involvement with banned substances. He was caught using anabolic steroids before a match where he was defending his third title, putting an abrupt end to his career without any excuses. So when the main character expressed his desperation and willingness to abandon everything for revenge, he initially refused to train him and asked him to leave. But the main character tries to persuade him, promising a payment of 100 million even if he quits halfway, and pointing out that society had forsaken him and he faced economic hardship. Understanding the parallels between their choices and potential repercussions, including the possibility of becoming disabled or repeatedly imprisoned, the main character expresses a preparedness to face such outcome. His desperation is evident as he states, "What can't be solved with money can be solved with a lot of money." Seeing the resolve in the main character's eyes, Young-do Cheol is somewhat moved and instructs him to step onto the training mat. "If you can hold out for at least one round, then I will acknowledge your will and accept that request." He promised that if the young one could demonstrate an unbreakable will, then he would train him to become the strongest. Kim Hyun-sung was continuously beaten without having a single opportunity to fight back. He was like a punching bag for Young-do Cheol to vent his stress on. Just in the first 10 seconds, it seemed like the main character's body could no longer endure. Bloody and with battered limbs all bruised. There were still 3 more minutes until the fight would end. He advised the main character to give up to avoid further injuries. If it continued like this, the main character wouldn't be able to endure anymore. Seizing an opportunity, Kim Hyun-sung threw a punch, but it was like an egg trying to be smarter than a duck. Not only did he not manage to hit anyone, but he was also beaten to a pulp. One would think that the main character had lain still, immobile. But unexpectedly, in the final moment, he still tried to force himself to stand up with all the survival instinct he had left to endure the beating. He tried screaming to compel himself to stand up at any cost. It was a moment he had awaited for 10 years in a coma, praying to turn back time over and over again. Therefore, Kim Hyun-sung did not allow himself to fall. In the end, after a 10-year coma, the main character became a master of enduring beatings. Despite having a broken nose and losing teeth at any cost, the main character succeeded in making Young-do Cheol acknowledge him and send him his bank account number. And it was thanks to this that Young-do Cheol rejected the offer to use drugs again and decided to participate in a tournament organized by an agent from the MMA Association to attract the public. That night, Kim Hyun-sung dragged his battered body home, causing his grandmother to be utterly horrified. To keep her from worrying, he lied, saying he just had a minor scuffle with some guys at school. While having dinner, the main character suggested to his grandmother to invest in the apartment project of the Myung-jin group, because, who knows, by luck, they might be chosen. Facing her worries about not having money, the young man tried to explain that they could take a loan from the bank, or they could repay it by selling the current apartment, or even sell the transaction right to someone else. Kim Hyun-sung knew full well that somehow Gu Chanhwa would include them in the selected list, so he was very confident. He wanted to give his grandmother 100 million won, just as he had transferred to Young-do Cheol, but doing so would make her question the source of the money, so he had to refrain. The next day, the main character dragged his bruised face to school as usual. Shin Young-min assumed that the freshman, Park Jin-woo, had done this and was extremely exhilarated. He allowed freshman Park Jin-woo to declare to everyone that he was acquainted with him. Park Jin-woo had no idea what was going on. He was only supposed to come here to assess the situation but unexpectedly found himself misunderstood in this way. However, this was also a good opportunity, so he firmly seized it without offering much explanation. Seeing Kim Hyun-sung's face full of injuries, Jin-woo suggested that he had been beaten up outside the school, and with this appearance, he wasn't very strong. Therefore, he confidently swore that if the main character dared to mess with him, he would beat Kim Hyun-sung to a pulp and give him a lesson. Jin-woo threatened all the first-year students, not allowing them to talk or hang out with Kim Hyun-sung. If anyone dared to disobey, he would kill them. To be able to defeat Shin Young-min, someone who has been training for so many years, he would have to do this. The main character tried hard to fulfill what the coach instructed, practicing 2 hours daily, striving to endure every second and every minute, pushing his body to the limit. Furthermore, his enemy was not simply an individual but a group of people from the Golden Circle organization. Therefore, he needed to become stronger and even more powerful. Observing Kim Hyun-sung's demeanor, Young-do Cheol felt it was promising, so he decided to apply the training method he had researched meticulously over the years and specially train the main character. He had spent a considerable amount of time finding and creating it so that even if he ended his career, the disciple could see the light. If the main character could keep up, he would become so strong that anyone would have to kneel before him. A week later, while Kim Hyun-sung was diligently studying at school, unexpectedly, his friend came to chat and check in on him. His name was Kim Si-woo, also a first-year student, a childhood friend of Kim Hyun. From what Kim Si-woo said, the main character learned that Park Jin-woo had been going around the classes threatening other first-year students, promising to kill anyone who dared to get close to him. Not wanting to side with them, Si-woo ignored all the warnings to continue being friends with Kim Hyun-sung. In a previous life, after Kim Si-woo found out the main character was being bullied, he disregarded everything to protect him, and for a while, the main character managed to escape from Park Min-cheol's group, after which they changed targets and bullied Kim Si-woo. After being beaten to the point of breaking a leg, he began to pretend not to know the main character. One day, while Kim Hyun-sung was lying in a hospital bed, he came and apologized sincerely, taking all the mistakes upon himself for not protecting him to the end. Letting this happen, Si-woo cried as he poured out his heart. I couldn't accept the fact that I was beaten up. Every break time, I thought I was brave, but when I was actually in that situation, I couldn't do anything. If there is a next life, I will never leave you alone, he said. Not wanting to repeat the mistakes of the past, he flatly refused and did not want to be Si-woo's friend. Hyun-sung coldly said, "Don't act like we are close, talk less, and behave like everyone else. I can handle this on my own, so don't stick your nose into it. Can't you see how serious this is?" Just then, the break time ended. Kim Si-woo left but still tried to tell Hyun-sung that he would do what he wanted, wouldn't leave him alone, and would come back to see Hyun-sung during the next break time. In the battle against the Golden Circle organization, it was unknown what price they would have to pay. Therefore, the main character could not allow his friend Si-woo to get involved in this matter. It would only bring misfortune to him, just like before. The main character couldn't abandon his family but should not let others interfere in this battle. Waiting endlessly without seeing Si-woo return, assuming that he had given up, it was shocking to suddenly hear bad news from the people around. They were whispering and discussing how pitiful and unfortunate Si-woo was. I saw Park Jin-woo talking to him. Should we tell the teacher? What if he seeks revenge? Let's just pretend we don't know anything. It is clear that his friend is in a dangerous situation. Hyun-sung darted out with lightning speed, hoping to be able to rescue his friend. Elsewhere, Park Jin-woo approached Si-woo with a menacing face and warned, "I told you not to associate with Kim Hyun-sung, didn't you hear? Or are you too scared and lost your mind? Everyone says he likes interesting people, so here I am, an interesting specimen." No matter who the person in front of him was, Si-woo responded defiantly, "I don't care who you are, but Kim Hyun-sung is my friend, so stop your annoying antics and back off, you jerk." Not saying much further, he gave him a straight kick to the face. Hugely embarrassed in front of his underling, Park Jin-woo yelled angrily, telling them to charge all at once. They were experts in dirty play. A whole group ganged up to bully a young man. The situation reversed instantly. He couldn't fight against all of them by himself. Kim Si-woo was quickly beaten to a pulp, receiving a series of slaps from Park Jin-woo. At that moment, the main character managed to arrive. He slammed the door open, stepping forward to prepare for the battle.